are the 76ers dangerous? And Dehls, I think they are. And I think that team, Boston over there, the Leprechaun.
Field. That's who you're taking.
They don't want to see Philly. Because they cannot handle Joel Embiid. They cannot mess with Joel Embiid. You think Rob Will can guard Joel Embiid? He cannot guard Joel Embiid.
Have you seen Embiid's games versus Al Horford?
And
Al Horford is not the same.
Al Horford
Rob
and
is here.
Rob Will.
Al Horford is still fucking
That
nice.
is the answer for Joel Embiid.
He cannot guard Embiid.
That's the answer for Joel Embiid.
Al was
Al
still doing
Horford,
his thing
neither
last
can
year in the
Rob
That's
playoffs.
a very
guard
tough
Embiid.
interior defense.
That is, bro.
They cannot guard Joel Embiid.
I mean,
bro.
Embiid's going to get his 30.
And you look at the Sixers right now, second seed, 32 and 16, 7-game win streak. They won 20 of their last 24. What are the Celtics in their last 24? Not this good. I'll tell you that. They're not. They're not. And guess what? The biggest reasons for that is health. Joel Embiid has been healthy. He's been healthy on this stretch. But it's Tyrese Maxey coming off the bench. And I was reading an article about Maxey proposing this idea to Doc Rivers. It showcases his maturity. He's a great dude. Riv was very early on him. And since he's come off the bench, it's been 5 of the last 6 games. He's been averaging about 20 points per game. And I think this helps his game so much because he goes from being the third or fourth scoring option to being the first option on the bench and leading a unit. When he was starting, Harden's going to get his touches over you. And B's going to get his touches over you. On every other night, even Tobias Harris will get his touches over you. Now you're coming off the bench. And this reminds me of what the Heat did with Tyler Hero, what the Warriors have done with Jordan Poole. I think these players with that play type, they offer you more to your team when they're coming off the bench and being that spark plug, because now it opens up everybody's game. And you also couldn't bench DeAnthony Melton. He's been a defensive pest and he's been a defensive menace. He's been one of the better point of attack defenders in the league.
Agreed.
They have another one in Thibault, but he can't shoot, and that limits his minutes on the court. But defensively, he's very good.
Agreed.
Now, the Harden, Melton, Harris, Tucker, and Embiid lineups have been 10th in differential, and this is taking into account 150 possessions or more. They have a 126 offense rating versus a 117.5 offense rating with Maxey, and they have a 112th defense rating with Melton, which would rank 12th. The Sixers, DeAnthony Melton, him starting, being 6th in total deflections. He's blowing up passing lanes. He's quick to recover on contests. He's been a huge spark for this starting lineup, and Max coming off the bench, I love it. And I think the Sixers are dangerous. Early in the season, you had Joel Embiid get injured. Harden started out great, but then kind of slowed down. Tyrese Maxey got hurt. You still have your worries about their bench and Doc Rivers, but I think Melton going to the starting lineup and Maxey going to the bench has helped that unit, and that was my biggest concern. I still have concerns about Doc Rivers, but if he's facing the Celtics in the playoffs, he wants payback. And Dehls, you should be afraid.
He's been wanting
because
payback
Joel Embiid said today on the posting after he beat Jokic, he said he's getting ready to put together a historic playoff run. He is. He's getting ready to dominate.
Well, Joel Embiid knows.
My turn.
He knows that he has to reach the Eastern Conference
Yes,
Finals.
I know. He definitely knows.
Well, you talked a lot about DeAnthony Melton, which is playing amazing. Thank you for the acknowledgement of me finding Tyrese Maxey first. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Philly's great. And I want to talk a little bit about Joel Embiid and James Harden, their duo. I mean, like, the dynamic duo is just like one of the most versatile duos in the NBA at the moment. I mean, you got to start with 2 guys who are masters at their respective crafts. Harden being a master in the playmaking area, Joel Embiid being a master at 3-level scoring. You put them together in a pick and roll, and it seemingly makes everything impossible to stop. I mean, James Harden at the best, 38% from the three-point line. Joel Embiid is as efficient as he can be from mid-range, inside 3 feet, outside to the three-point line. His true shooting is, I believe, 64.4%. So he's been as efficient as he's ever been in his seat in the NBA. And then you put this together, their pick-and-roll mastery has been so amazing. I mean, this dynamic duo has been tearing the league up. And I think you have to look at it, and you have to – the thing about Philly is we always consider them dangerous because they're always one of the top teams in the league. But I think
super talented.
I think this year is a little different because they found a defensive identity within themselves. You know, I'm not even speaking about coaching, but within themselves, they found a defensive identity. They bring Maxey up the bench to bring in that score, and he's a fast and high-paced scorer.
One of the fastest guys in the league.
He can rip off 15, 16 points quickly. He's one of the best transition players in the NBA. And then you have Harden and Embiid who just seemingly break down defenses with that pick and roll. It's almost impossible to stop unless you have the proper personnel. I do think Boston would be a tough matchup because they can switch 1 through 5 pretty much throughout most guys. I think Brooklyn would also be a strong team to possibly beat because you have Claxton, who now can guard 1 through 5. You have Kevin Durant, who can also do it. So you have guys out there who can give some fits. But you have to consider them dangerous. I think this is a different year. The Doc Rivers thing is always scary because he can collapse at any moment in the playoffs. And Embiid and Harden, this would probably be one of their years to really do it. I mean, they're one of the few teams that's top 8 in both offensive rating and defensive rating. So they've been amazing on both sides of the field. Dangerous is definitely the word. You know, I look at Milwaukee. I always said that was a tough team for Milwaukee because Philly's Embiid size against Giannis, that would be trouble. You know, I trust that matchup, and then he can cause Giannis to be in foul trouble. But Milwaukee's a tough team, and Nets are a tough team. But I definitely put them in that tier 1. You got to give them respect. And as long as Embiid and Harden keep playing like this, outside of Doc Rivers' blunders, I don't see why they couldn't go far in the East.
You said it. Top 5 in offense, top 7 in defense. They've been fantastic so far. 7-game heater. They have been on a roll.
7-game heater.
So I'm not reiterating a lot of the stuff you guys said. I want to highlight something really quick. You guys mentioned that your lone concern is Doc Rivers, and that's my main concern as well. Now, yes, I can sit here and say all the things you guys said. They're super talented. Joel Embiid, James Harden, one of the best duos in the league. Their chemistry is second to none. It seems like those two guys' play styles can coexist perfectly with one another. And Harden's selflessness is perfectly suited to cater to Joel Embiid, who is the offensive dominant, the definition of being the dominant center in the league, whether it's getting into the paint and scoring at will or shooting and extending beyond there. He can just simply do everything. He's leading the league in points for a reason. But Doc Rivers, come playoff time, is why using the word dangerous is tough for me. I can use dark horse. If you want to call them synonyms, I understand where you're coming from for sure. And I call them a dark horse because I simply can't rely on Doc Rivers come playoff time. It's just been a laundry list of season after season after season of getting to the playoffs and being underwhelming. Now, I understand it looks different right now. The team's healthy. They're clicking on all cylinders, both offensively and defensively. And come the stretch, something of recent that's taken over is James Harden. What had made him so fantastic is his willingness to be aggressive come crunch time. And what I saw a little bit prior to this past 7-game win streak was Harden being passive and kind of letting Joel Embiid be the crunch time guy. And understandably so, Joel Embiid is one of the best scorers in the league. But he has to remember that he is James Harden. And of recent, James Harden's definitely been more keen on being aggressive when it comes to that time. And that's really what I want to see from the Sixers, because a dominant James Harden makes the 76ers dangerous, no doubt about it. But why I can't go that far is because Doc Rivers. And that's really the only reason I can't use the word dangerous.
Question. Do you think he's not dominant because he's not scoring a lot?
What do you mean by that?
Like
Did I say that he's not dominant?
No, you said you want Harden to be a more dominant player.
Let me say more aggressive. I want to say more aggressive because James Harden, when he's aggressive, has shown in the past one of the best scorers we've ever seen, absolutely. I understand his game has evolved, and now he's more of a playmaker, especially playing next to a guy like Joel Embiid. But he needs to understand situations, understand mismatches, which he has recently. There was a stretch to start the season where James Harden really was just kind of letting Joel Embiid cook up. And now we're starting to see James Harden really understand, all right, I need to pick and choose when to be aggressive because I have the skill set. One of the best guys in the game for sure. I need to trust myself. And he has. And if that's the case, and these two are going to continue to play at this aggressive pace for the entirety of the season, then yes, we can talk about dangerous. Personnel is never a question with Philadelphia. It's a matter of the coaching. And that's my big issue.
Personnel is an issue to some degree.
Right now, what can you really say? They're top 5 in offense. They're top 7 in defense.
They don't have a backup center.
I was just about to say, Montrezl stinks, man.
Fair enough. But they're going to make a move, and that's...
A lot of teams need front court help.
I still think another wing that can space the floor a little bit better would be cool, too. You know?
Okay.
I like PJ and Tyler are cool, but...
Georgie's it has been very solid for them in terms of just extending the floor. Obviously, Tobias Harris... Matisse Thybulle, if he could learn how to just
hit a corner
do something offensively.
Yeah,
But
it's too
Shake
late
and
for that.
DeAndre Melton, they have been great.
They have been. And I don't want to make this a Sixers versus Celtics one just because
That doesn't have to
you
be.
just came at me with the Sixers want to see the Celtics. Wow.
They got the coach that last won a championship for you.
Yeah, the last two times the Celtics and Sixers played. Do you remember what happened?
Refresh my memory.
2018, Celtics won in 5. 2020, Celtics won in 4.
Oh, 3 years ago.
Same, basically same core for the Celtics for the most part. You know, some guys go, some guys stay.
Was James Harden on the team?
No, he wasn't, but Embiid was.
Who was on the team? Who was on the team?
Hasn't been able to get past.
You mean a year
Embiid.
Ben Simmons was hurt for the entire series?
It doesn't matter. They're not beating us. But anyhow, let's talk about the Sixers because I do want to give them credit. I do. I mean, a 7-game winning streak, and I feel a lot of this has been through adversity, right? They went 5 games on the road on the West Coast, won all of those games. I believe the last game was against the Kings. They were without Harden and Embiid. They won that game by a couple points. They come back home. The Nets are off back-to-back big wins, right? They're struggling a little bit. The Nets off back-to-back big wins. They come into 76ers, a back-and-forth game, and the Nets were shooting at just a ridiculous rate that game. They shot 64% from the field, 54% from 3, and the Sixers still won because they made 35 of 36 free throws. So it was kind of a weird game where there was outliers on both sides. But like I said, it just feels like this win streak has definitely been positive for them in the fact that when shit hasn't gone their way, they've still been able to overcome that. The big three in that game against the Nets scored 76 points, that big three being Maxey, Harden, and Embiid. And as you guys mentioned, I mean, one of the biggest changes has been Maxey moving to the bench, right? Coming into the year, we were kind of expecting him to take that lead, be that next breakout player. And while he's obviously having a great season, I think being mature enough, like you mentioned, Joel, to say, I could go to the bench, let's bring someone else in the starting lineup because I want to help the team win, shows a lot about just his character and what he thinks about this team and really what the ceiling is for the 76ers team. I mean, Melton comes in, he's the better defender. You have Maxey off the bench who could kind of spark the offense and run the offense better than him. But just to talk about the Sixers as a whole, I mean, they're a good team, without a doubt. I had them as a top 3 seed coming into the season. I thought, they're going to win a playoff series. They're going to compete in the second round and maybe get to the ECF. But you do look at those role players who have stepped up this year. We knew Maxey was going to take that lead, but George, as Drew mentioned, you have Melton. You have guys, Tobias Harris, who we shit on a lot. He's taken his attempts down. His efficiency has been better. I feel like he's starting to find a better role now. Now that Maxey's got on, he's taken a bit more of a backseat. I think he's averaging 3 or 4 less shots per game. His efficiency is better than last season too. So when you have an MVP caliber and Joel Embiid, you have one of the best playmakers in James Harden. The pick and roll game is as lethal as it gets in the NBA. They're going to be a tough team for any playoff matchup. But when I do look in the East, as Riv mentioned, it's just some tough matchups. I mean, they haven't proven they could get out of the second round. They haven't proven, when I say them, at least Embiid and Doc, to be able to get past the Celtics, who you're going to run into if you want to get to the finals. So this win streak is great. They've had some really impressive wins, but I'm not ready to say they should be the favorites to come out of the East, or even I would pick them over the Celtics in a playoff series.
So Harden, on catch and shoot threes, which make up 20% of his looks, shoots 43.5.
He's been crazy.
Joel Embiid, last 10 games against the Celtics in his career, 30 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists.
What's the splits?
47% from the field.
Can you give me the wins and losses?
27% from the three, and 82% from the free throw line.
Damn.
47% for a big is an ideal.
I mean, but he's not the ideal big, though.
Yeah, that's true. What does he shoot right now? 64? True shooting?
Can you give me the wins and losses?
Oh, I got you.
Oh, thank you. I'm curious.
Oh, you're just chopping at the bits for that, huh? I'm looking at it.
Okay. I'm going to pull up StatMuse.
5-5.
Okay. Respectable. I was expecting 3-7. I mean,
yeah, because you're a hater. You're a Joel Embiid and Harden hater.
Yeah.
That's what you
I
are.
like the Celtics. I'm honest.
He's honest.
I am.
So be honest about
sorry,
Embiid.
I said I don't like the Sixers.
I knew what you meant.
Love the Celtics. All my heart.
Stop seeing it on Embiid. Cause you don't want to see him come playoff time, especially.
I said he should start in the All-Star game, to be honest.
All right, who's more dangerous, the Nets or the Sixers?
Oh, he can't choose.
Nets.
It's teams.
Nets.
I agree.
Nets.
Good shit. Were you sticking with that?
Of course I'm sticking with
Okay,
it.
cool.
But like I said,
I don't want like Cam Thomas to go off for 30 and all of a sudden, then you know what I mean? Like
the East, Nets and Sixers. It's my teams, baby. And the Knicks.
The best teams. Interesting.
Watch out. If we get OG Anunoby, you don't want to see us.
you're gonna go 3 first?
You don't. Why not?